Section 6.7 Goal 2 is on inequalities. We're going to solve this inequality just like we solve an equation. Now, the only difference is we have an inequality symbol. So don't forget, you always have to take into account if you multiply or divide by a negative that you have to switch the sign. We probably won't see that here in these two examples, but you always have to keep that in mind. So what we're going to do is solve this just like an equation. We're going to subtract 1. We end up with the square root of 2x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. Now, we're going to square both sides. Don't forget to show that you're squaring, because a lot of people will take the square root of 4 and accidentally. And so you end up with 2x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 16. Minus 2x is greater than or equal to 14, x is greater than or equal to 7. So according to this, all of my solutions that make this true are x is greater than or equal to 7. So those are the solutions. Now, that doesn't mean that those are the answers. And we need to make sure we verify that by checking the domain. Now, the domain is this. You have the domain, which we know anything under the radical sign is greater than or equal to 0 because it's an even radical. And so 2x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. When I solve this, I end up x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So not only do we know all the x's have to be greater than or equal to 7 to make the solutions or the equation true, inequality true, x can't be less than negative 1. So when we compare this on a number line, we look at both of these sets of numbers. So according to our solutions, 7, x has to be greater than or equal to 7. According to our domain, x has to be greater than or equal to negative 1. And as you can see, all of the solutions are part of the domain. So our answer is x is greater than or equal to 7 because they are part of the domain. If they were not part of the domain, we'd have to take out any numbers that are part of this. And I'll show you that on the next one. Okay, so the next one, I accidentally deleted part of this, so let me rewrite the rest of it up here. Minus 2 is less than 4. Okay, so the next one we are going to do the same exact steps, and we're going to see how this works out. So the same exact steps, I'm going to add 2. So the square root of 4x minus 4 is less than 6. Square both sides, so 4x minus 4 is less than 36. Add 4, 4x is less than 40. Divide by 4, x is less than 10. So these are our solutions, all numbers less than 10. Okay, so let's check the domain. The domain, we know, has to be 4x minus 4 has to be greater than or equal to 0 because it's underneath an even radical. So anytime whatever's underneath an even radical can't be negative. And so you add 4, you get 4x is greater than or equal to 4. Divide by 1, or 4, I get x is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so let's double check this on the number line. So according to this, our solutions are everything less than 10. Our domain says x has to be greater than or equal to 1. So the only numbers that are possible are everything between 1 and 10. So 1 is less than or equal to x is less than 10, or you could say 1 all the way up to 10 using interval notation. Those are our solutions. Hopefully that makes sense and you understand how inequalities have a little bit different of a solution to it because you have to take into account the domain.